The $1,200 phone that became $1,600. You walk into the Apple store. Your old phone still works. The battery is a little slow and the screen has a tiny crack, but it's fine. Still, you convince yourself you need an upgrade. It's for work, you tell yourself. It's a productivity tool. So you drop $1,200 on the new iPhone Pro Max Titanium. You walk out feeling successful. But then you sit in your car and look at the phone. It's sleek, futuristic, perfect. Suddenly, your old frayed charging cable looks like garbage next to it. It feels wrong plugging this masterpiece into a cheap $5 gas station cable. So you buy the MagSafe charger, $40. Later at home, you place the phone on your nightstand and notice your cheap plastic phone case. It looks ridiculous on a titanium device. So you buy the leather case, $60. Then you realize your wired headphones are incompatible. You need AirPods Pro, $250. Within 48 hours, that $1,200 purchase quietly becomes $1,600. And you barely noticed it happening. The psychological chain reaction. This isn't just bad money management. It's a psychological chain reaction that has destroyed more fortunes than the stock market ever could. It's why lottery winners often go bankrupt. Dream houses become financial nightmares. One purchase leads to 10 more. This phenomenon is called the Diderot effect. Most people think they buy things because they need them. But the truth is, you buy things because your other things demand them. And to understand why, we need to go back to France in 1765. The philosopher who started it all. Meet Denis Diderot. He was a famous philosopher and co-founder of the Encyclopédie, one of the most influential works of the Enlightenment. Despite his intellectual fame, Diderot was poor. He lived simply. Old clothes, old rugs, a shaky wooden chair, a dusty study, and he was perfectly content. But everything changed when Catherine the Great, Empress of Russia, heard about his financial struggles. She admired his work. So she offered to buy his entire library for the equivalent of $50,000 today, while allowing him to keep the books. Overnight, Diderot became rich. The scarlet robe. Like anyone who suddenly receives money, Diderot treated himself. He bought a luxurious scarlet dressing gown, a robe fit for royalty. When he wore it, he felt elegant, wealthy, refined. But when he sat down at his desk to write, something bothered him. The robe was magnificent. His desk was scratched, rotting, and covered in ink stains. The contrast was unbearable. So he replaced the desk. The spiral begins. Diderot bought a beautiful mahogany writing desk. Now the robe and desk looked perfect together. But then he noticed the rug. It was old, thin, and worn out. Compared to the new desk, it looked like a rag. So he bought a luxurious Damascus rug. Then the rug made the curtains look cheap. So he replaced the curtains. Then the chair looked terrible. So he bought a leather armchair. Then the paintings looked wrong. Then the mirrors. Then the decorations. One by one, Diderot replaced everything he owned. Becoming a slave to possessions. By the end of the transformation, his room was beautiful, but his money was gone. Diderot later wrote an essay titled, "Regrets on Parting with My Old Dressing Gown." In it, he wrote a haunting line. "I was the absolute master of my old dressing gown, but I have become a slave to my new one." This is the Diderot effect. When a new possession enters your life, it often triggers spiraling consumption. We think we own our things, but in reality, our things begin to own us. Why it's even worse today? The Diderot effect is far stronger today than it was in the 1700s, because modern marketing is designed to trigger it intentionally. Take the fitness identity spiral. You buy a Peloton bike, $1,500. You tell yourself it's an investment in your health. But when it arrives, you realize your old gym clothes look terrible. So you buy cycling shoes, $150. Compression shorts, $80. Branded tank tops, $50. Then you notice the bike looks awkward in your messy living room. So you create a workout space. Yoga mat, dumbbells, maybe a smart TV. You didn't just buy a bike. You bought an identity. Identity consistency. Humans crave consistency. We want our external world to match our internal self-image. If you see yourself as a Honda Civic person you're comfortable with, jeans, fast food, simple living. But if you buy a Porsche, everything changes. Porsche owners don't wear scratch sunglasses. They don't have cheap furniture. They don't eat off paper plates. The car becomes an anchor item, and everything else in your life must rise to its level. The chain reaction cost. Most people calculate the price of something incorrectly. They ask, can I afford this $500 item? But that's the wrong question. You must calculate the chain reaction cost. Example, kitchen renovation. You install $10,000 cabinets. Suddenly, your old fridge looks terrible, $2,000 upgrade. The floor looks cheap, $5,000 hardwood. The living room now looks outdated, repaint furniture. That $10,000 renovation becomes $35,000. The cabinets were the scarlet robe. How to defeat the Diderot effect. You can't avoid buying nice things forever, but you can defend against the spiral. 1. Predict the chain reaction. Before buying something, ask, what else will this item demand? A PS5 might require a 4K TV, extra controllers, online subscriptions. Calculate the full system cost, not the item cost. 2. Buy one, remove one. If you buy something new, something old must leave. New shoes, donate old shoes. New toaster, remove the old toaster. This prevents accumulation. 3. Practice strategic downgrading. Sometimes the best move is to keep anchor items humble. Drive a modest car. Wear a simple watch. When your status symbols are modest, nothing else needs upgrading. You gain freedom. Consider the car upgrade trap. You buy a $60,000 luxury car. At first it's just the car. But then something subtle happens. You start noticing things. Your old keychain suddenly feels cheap. Your garage looks messy next to the car. Your clothes don't match the image anymore. Soon you find yourself buying better sunglasses, nicer shoes, premium car washes, a garage storage system. The purchase silently rewrites the standard of your environment, and everything around it must adjust. Or take the gaming setup spiral. You buy a $500 PlayStation 5. That seems manageable. But then the chain reaction begins. The graphics are incredible, but your old TV can't display them properly. So you buy a $900 4K TV. Then you realize the sound is weak. So you add a $400 soundbar. Then you need extra controllers, $70. Online subscription, $80 per year. New games, $70 each. Suddenly your $500 purchase quietly becomes $2,000. And none of these purchases felt irrational at the time. Each one felt logical. That's the danger. The Diderot effect doesn't feel like impulsive spending. It feels like maintaining consistency. One upgrade demands another, and another, and another, until the original purchase becomes the smallest cost in the entire chain reaction. The cabinets weren't expensive. The system they created was. And once the system starts expanding, it rarely stops on its own. Final lesson. Nice things aren't the problem. The problem is letting one purchase rewrite the standard of your entire life. Diderot discovered this 300 years ago. One purchase doesn't complete the puzzle. It scrambles the puzzle and forces you to start over. So remember, don't become a slave to your robe. Be the master of your life.